All right. Hi, everybody. David Fogel with you, CEO of the Symphonina Foundation, back with another Symphonina Foundation podcast. And on our podcast, we interview all sorts of people, from students to Grammy winners, teachers, conductors. And we've got somebody right now, Naomi Wharry, who's a classical trombonist taking her master's in performance at Yale University. Naomi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a nice, easy Friday so far.
Well, we'll keep it that way. There are no difficult questions on the Symphonina Foundation podcast, but maybe some good ones. Let's see. So let's talk a little bit about what it is to do a master's in performance on any instrument, really, but specifically for you on the trombone. I can imagine there must be maybe some standard repertoire for the trombone that you have to master as part of that master's performance. How does it go?
The thing that I really like about the master's program for music is that by the time you get to your graduate studies, you've learned a lot of the standard rep. Undergrad is usually building that up as far as solo repertoire, like the method books and things you want to make sure you get your hands on. So this master's program has mostly been, at least at Yale, a time for you to explore. Like, what do you want to specialize in? You've figured out how to play a lot of things, but what do you want to be able to establish your voice in? For some people, it's I want to be able to play all the excerpts really well. For others, it's like I want to know what it means to like commission new pieces for chamber ensembles, to play more chamber music in solo repertoire. So it's really been kind of flexible in that way as far as the master's program here.
That's interesting. So when you're doing a master's program, okay, in music, my master's was in engineering a long time ago, but I had an advisor. I'm guessing you have an advisor, and they have their own interests, whatever it might be. Do you get to follow your own path, or do you kind of find the advisor whose path you want to be on?
You are assigned an advisor. Thankfully, like it's like winds and brass is kind of put together. And so I think like my advisor right now is a flutist, a flautist. So we do have standard things as far as the academic work. So as far as theory and music history is concerned, we're going to learn what the Yale's curriculum is.
Right.
Other than that, like I've been able to dive into things I want. Like right now, I'm taking a class in arts leadership. That was an elective. And last year, I was able to take something called Composers in Their Environments, which was I was exploring new ways to look at music and analyzing how these composers were thinking in different times. And so it's a little bit of both as far as the advisor situation is concerned.
Okay, a little give and take. That's good. Well, you're going to spend a lot of time with anybody in grad school, whether it's a master's or a doctoral program. You're going to spend a lot of time with your advisor,
Mm.
hopefully, and hopefully it's all positive and you help them, they help you. That's how in my view, that's how it should be, really. But how long do you have to go before you graduate?
A little over a semester. This is my second year in a
Mhm.
2-year program.
Mhm.
And so by May, I'll be done.
By May, you'll be done. Is there there must be a performance, a concert that you have to do for a master's in performance?
Yes. Yes. There's a degree recital that you have to
Hmm.
do. I only have to do one, and I'm doing mine April 18th.
April
So
18th. It'll
yeah.
be here before we know it. Is it live stream?
I'm going to see if I can make that. I'm pretty sure I can, and I will.
Okay, well, you keep us posted, and we'll be happy to post the live stream and get you as many extra viewers, and
Yes.
we'll be there for it. That'd be great. When you finish, what is your goal? Is your goal to go find an orchestra job straight away, or is your goal to go on and do a DMA? What do you have in mind?
My goals are definitely performance based. I'm not super interested in more school right
Hmm.
now, that's for sure. So the opportunities I'm looking at are things like training orchestras like New World Symphony. There's Minnesota Orchestra has a fellowship as well. But other than that, yes, I'm definitely still taking orchestra auditions and trying to also at the same time uh, have some roots with chamber groups and small groups of people that I like to play with. See if anything comes out of those as well.
Yeah. Is it true for every instrument in the orchestra that the auditioning is fairly intense and there's a lot of competition, regardless of whatever, it might be that for the English horn it's easier or something. Maybe it's harder. I don't know. But
Yeah.
you think about how it is for violin, there's lots of violin spots, but maybe not many openings. Maybe it's the same for trombone. What's your experience?
Hmm. So I have kind of an interesting audition experience. The first audition I ever took was with the president's own band.
Oh,
And I think I was going into my senior year of undergrad, and then I was a finalist for that. And this was, the first audition is a pretty big one. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this means from here, the next one I take, I'm gonna win, right? Like because I'm so close and that means I'm on the right path. But I ended up the next audition I took after that was actually something that was like it was a smaller orchestra, didn't even get past prelims.
hmm,
And so that was definitely like a big lesson for me. And like you hear people talk about it all the time, like some things are subjective or you never know and everything. It could be
right.
little things. But that was like a big wake up call. And thankfully I've had more like positive experiences with them since then. So I'm not like completely freaking out, but seen both sides of it for sure.
Yeah, and it is tough when you're even if you think you performed the best you can and someone says it's, not what we're looking for, then
Hmm.
that's it's not in your control, so you got to let it go. And it
Yeah.
takes a certain mental attitude to be able to let that go with a smile on your face. I know it's hard
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. How'd you get into the trombone? There are a lot of instruments. Most kids start on the piano or the violin, maybe the flute. How'd you pick the trombone?
Well, first of all, from since I was like in second grade, I knew I was going to want to play an instrument. So my older sister actually was in band. She played the clarinet and the saxophone, and she kind of helped me narrow down my choices because she told me I wasn't allowed to copy her. So apparently I was always trying to copy her and be like my
Okay.
big sister. But yeah, and so I was like, you know what? I don't want to do anything even close to the clarinet. I didn't even want that anyway. So I went to the trombone. That was only half of the motivation. The other half of the motivation was in our band class, and I loved the way they did this. They had professional musicians playing each instrument. They were all playing the same song. They were all playing Scarborough Fair.
Okay.
So the sound of the trombone playing that, it was the sound of that
Mm.
that ended up sealing the deal for me.
Interesting. So a low kind of warm brassy feel, I'm guessing. They're not
Yes,
blasting
yes.
out Scarborough Fair. So
Exactly. I fell in love with the sing-songy qualities of it.
yeah, and I love that in the trombone and the tuba too. Actually,
Mm,
I heard some people. I forget who it was, but I think it was a Yamaha artist at the NAMM show 2 years ago doing tuba,
mm,
and it was really warm and great. And it's not what you think about typically when you think of a tuba, but he played it
mhm.
so wonderfully. So you were on the trombone then from a young age all the way through. I'm guessing orchestra in high school and off to undergrad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started playing the trombone in the sixth grade,
Yeah.
like in the regular band program. And we didn't have an orchestra in my high school. My town that I grew up in was so small. But yeah, I definitely fell in love with it. I knew as soon as I started it that I wanted to be pretty serious about it, which is also kind of weird, I guess.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you pick the right thing. If
Yeah.
you can be serious about anything and you pick the right thing. And of course, it's important to know if it's not the right thing to give up on it and
Hmm.
find some other thing as soon as possible rather than keep beating your head against the wall. But in your case, this was the right thing. So you went to University of Central Oklahoma
Yeah.
for a bachelor's degree. Now you grew up in Oklahoma. I think you were saying before we got started in a very rural
Mhm.
area of it. So moving, let's see, UCO is that near Oklahoma City suburbs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, Edmond or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was the transition like, both coming from outside the city to into the city, plus also starting at college and with all the
Mm.
professors that are there?
Well, I mean, it was a pretty, all things considered, smooth transition. So I started my undergrad in 2020, the fall of 2020. So
Yeah,
that
different time.
was,
Yeah.
it was very different, but I think I remember at the time just being excited that I was able to do anything at all. That, even though we were masking and everything, I was like, this is new. There's so many people here compared to my other school. I'm so close to the city compared to I was before, and everybody or compared to, like being in the boondocks, if
Hmm.
you will. It's definitely more serious people about music. And so it was kind of just all exciting, and I was just curious about everything. Nothing seemed, there wasn't much like intimidation there. It was just curiosity and gratitude.
That's great. I'm curious. Did your sister pursue the clarinet with the same specificity that you went for the trombone?
No, she definitely didn't. She was, relatively competitive with it in high school. So like, she auditioned for All-State and everything, but she ended up being a lab scientist,
Ah, good
whenever
for
she
her.
went in college. And it's funny because I think she'll say she's like living vicariously through me, where she's like, you keep being creative and all this stuff, and just like, keep me in the loop.
Yeah,
And so she sings now, actually. She sings some gigs. She lives in Hawaii. It's like
very
she still
cool.
kept the music thing going though, so it's
All
fun.
right. That's good. And you can probably play a duet of clarinet and trombone or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how many duets for clarinet and trombone have ever been written, but there you
We used to try. We
Yeah,
definitely used to try.
I bet. I bet. Hey, what was the call for you to go to Yale? There are many music schools, many music departments all over the country, and oftentimes, of course, we talk to people who've gone to Berkeley or USC Film School or whatever it might be. But
Mm.
what was the impetus for you to go off to Yale?
Well, there were a couple of things. Well, first of all, I didn't even know about the Yale School of Music until this summer before my last year of undergrad. So the summer of my junior year of undergrad or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I found out about it because I took a lesson with this trombonist named Brittany Lash. I don't know if you know about her. She's a professor at Indiana University.
Okay.
I did the DC trombone workshop, and we had a lesson together. And after the lesson, she was like, "You need to audition at Yale. It's full tuition, which is a big thing for me, like with a, pretty hefty living stipend. I come from a family of 8
Yeah.
kids. And so I was like, okay, if I'm doing more school, I got to find a way to pay for it.
Right.
So that was a big incentive for sure. And then also having somebody that's like, it's competitive, but I feel like I know you have a chance.
Hmm.
So I needed that validation as well to pursue it. So in the end, it ended up being between Yale and Rice University in Houston.
Hmm.
And the last little bit was me realizing that if there was ever a time for me to explore like a different part of the country, like go to the East Coast and, make connections there and everything, this was going to be the perfect opportunity to do that. And I've fallen in love with the East Coast. I want to stay here after I graduate, unless, I end up having to do a job somewhere else. But like, it was definitely the best choice for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it's worked out just super. And who knows? Hopefully, you'll get a gig at the Hartford Symphony or the Boston Pops or something in that area. You never know,
Yeah.
right? You've been doing some guest playing too. I think you've been touring a little bit as a guest artist. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is another awesome thing that happened from me being at Yale. So the all women brass group, Seraph Brass, they're a group that's been established for like 12 years. They're touring all the time and just outstanding players. They came in April and visited Yale, and they were performing with the Yale band, and they gave a master class. So through this, I ended up being able to meet some of them. I played pickleball with a couple of the members, actually,
All right.
and I played in a master class. I played a Poulenc's brass trio in a master class. And through that, they were like, really complimentary of my playing at one of the receptions after their concert. They were like asking me questions like, what do you want to do and everything. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, what if this means they want me to play with them? But in my head, I'm like, these are superstars. Like, what are the odds? And then in August, I got a message from the horn player asking if I wanted to do this week-long leg of their tour as a guest artist with them in Tulsa, Oklahoma, actually,
Back home, kind of.
back home. And I was like, this is fantastic. So I did that last week and we performed 2 shows a day. It was a total of 8 shows and just completely life-changing. Fantastic women. And I'm excited to play with them again.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I guess you're open to other freelance opportunities that might come your way.
Oh, of course. Yes.
And do you focus on orchestral music, pretty much classical, or we didn't get into what kind of music was so much in the guest performance? Was the jazz or?
So this was with the brass quintet, and it was mostly classical music. Like we
Okay.
played like arrangements of like Night on Bald Mountain
Uh-huh.
and Hungarian Rhapsody and things like that. And but we also had like some West Side Story in there. I
Okay.
love chamber music because you can really kind of have fun with those sorts of genres and everything.
Yeah. Well, if somebody has a freelance gig for you that's more of a jazz trombone application, would that be something you'd be interested in considering, or what's your feeling on
Oh,
that?
this is so funny. I can't believe I didn't get into. I play a plenty of jazz gigs. I've acted as a band leader. This is probably right now, as far as gigging is concerned, one of my main sources of income. I have this semi-weekly gig at the Port of Call. I sing and play with a jazz quartet. Next Wednesday, I'll be playing with a big band in
There
Hartford.
we go.
So
Yes.
it's like my undergrad, where I got my minor in jazz studies, had a fantastic jazz program. So that was actually a really big focus in my undergrad. So I
Well, as
love.
you can see from the saxophones behind me, I'm right there with you. I appreciate that
Love it.
music too. It's great. It's all great. If people want to get in touch with you, Naomi, what's the best way to do that?
I'm the most active probably on Instagram, and that handle is Naomi Feat, as in short for featuring, FEAT
Uh-huh.
dot trombone.
Okay. Dot trombone or on Facebook. I think I found you on
Or on
Facebook.
Facebook. On Facebook, I'm just Naomi Wharry mostly, and then on my email, naomiwharry@gmail.com. I keep
All
it
right.
simple.
That sounds good. Yeah, but you keep us appraised of how you're doing and when your recital's coming up, maybe the 18th of April, if I remember right there, and we'll
Yes.
see what we can do to help promote that. If there is anything we can do with the Symphony Foundation to be of help to you, you just let us know. We're going to
Yes.
listen to some more of your great playing on the way out. And thanks so much. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.